useless for development. Are you one of those people who think the same? Let's clear the air for you. Hello everybody, welcome back to Tech with Ninad, and today we'll be talking about how DSA helps you in development. I'll be telling you all the pros that DSA has that will help you become a better developer or an engineer. So without wasting any more time, let's get into the video and start off with the first topic. So topic number 1, critical thinking. How does that happen? Well, most people when they start LeetCode think that they will solve X amount of problems and that will make them a better engineer magically. Let me tell you, that's not the case. Solving problems on LeetCode just by typing out code that is rote copied and bland key tabs is not the way to actually become a better engineer. LeetCode involves you to solve certain problems with certain approaches and to think yourself about a solution. LeetCode is supposed to help you improve your critical thinking, not increase the number of problems on your profile. Now, I have solved 600 plus problems, and how that has helped me? I have not solved those problems on the basis of on the basis of just increasing the number of problems on my profile. I've solved them with the purpose of getting them accepted through my own logic. I have built logic myself by sitting here 2 hours over a single problem and understanding the internal working of every algorithm. Now, how does that help me? It improves my critical thinking. You see, no one in a real software engineering job will ever tell you to invert a binary tree or reverse a linked list. That's simply not possible. But what's possible is they will give you a complicated scenario that you have to tackle using code or using engineering. And when it gets to that, most people crumble. Not because they have not done DSA, they actually have, except they have only done DSA because they wanted to solve problems. They did not do DSA because they wanted to build logic. You see, doing DSA helps you build that critical thinking that you require to tackle these problems. Without that critical thinking, it's impossible to be an engineer. An engineer means finding your way throughout your given problem statement. And that involves a lot of things which I'll be covering later on in this video. If you want to know about the mistakes that beginners have made on LeetCode, you can check out my last video where I discussed all the mistakes that LeetCode beginners make. So topic number 2 is syntax to systems. Now this is where the game changes. You start moving from rote syntax where you used to write console.log, system.out.println or cout. You move out from those ways, you come to response.json, you come to axios.post, and you start doing these production grade environment tasks. And this is where you shift from basic syntax to systems. Now you're not anymore asking for just delivering the correct answer. You are asking to deliver an optimal solution to the required problem statement. Earlier on LeetCode, you're given, let's say, a 10⁵ constraint. For this 10⁵ constraint, you can implement either n log n or O of n solutions. It's very rare that you get O of 1 solutions for a 10⁵ problem, but you do get it, and even you get O of log n sometimes. When an engineer solves LeetCode, you're not supposed to just solve LeetCode for the sake of increasing problems. That logic that you built in the first step, the critical thinking that you improved, comes right here. Before developing an endpoint, you should be asking yourself the question, how much optimal can I make it? What are my number of inputs? What are my number of outputs? What is the amount of processing that I'm going to do? Once you start doing this, you start actually thinking like an engineer, because when delivering an endpoint, you have to think of the worst case. What if the website blows up on day 1? And that is what the shift from syntax to systems is. Before writing a LeetCode problem, what do you do exactly? You check the constraints. You check if it's 10⁵. Yes, go n log n. 10⁵, go n square it. 10⁵ maybe 1. Then you know it's a maybe backtracking problem. Backtracking problem even have 200 or maybe even sometimes 15 or 20 as the max limit, like literally 50 or 20. So you understand what approach you have to use there to make the system most optimal. And that is what you do on LeetCode, and that is what you're expected to do in a real-time system. Topic 3, algorithms in actual production. Let me ask you, what are the algorithms that you have studied till now? Somebody will tell you that they have studied binary search. Somebody will tell you that they have studied Floyd-Warshall. Somebody will tell you that they've studied Dijkstra's. But let me ask you, what are the applications of these algorithms? And that is the real question. You use these algorithms in real time in production systems and you just don't realize it. Whenever you're writing an algorithm, if you're doing something which is a complicated task, internally you're writing those same data structures that you always did. Just like I told you, if you're familiar with Redis, Redis is a caching service that internally uses maps. That is exactly what you do in dynamic programming. You create a DP vector or you create a map. Mostly it's preferred to create a DP vector, but the entire purpose of the DP vector is being a map. So you just create a map to store a value that was hit minutes ago and you return that value again. So there you go, there you're applying dynamic programming. If you want to find the shortest path between 2 points in your project, let's say you have a map based project and you want to find the 2 points which are the shortest, you are using graphs, you are using edges, you are using vertices. It all starts coming back together. if you're using any kind of a graph database, if you have ever heard of Neo4j, it's a graph database. Graph databases are usually used on platforms like social media, where you're supposed to establish links between people, between things. It is possible, but it is very tedious to mention those links in a relational database. Why? Because if my user is following 10 different users, is posting 10 different posts, has 10 different tags, 10 different comments, 10 different shares, 10 different, it's so messy that you have like 15 foreign keys in one single table. That is where the Neo4j database comes in. And what does that tell you? Instead of maintaining a single array, you transform to graphs. If you go to the problem rotting oranges, which I've even used in my last video, you try to do it by a regular matrix multiplication, you're gonna crash. So what do? You convert it to a graphs problem. So this implementation of algorithms and databases in actual production grade environments tells you that you do need data structures and algorithms there too. It's present, it's always present. It's simply present in a different form. And this is why I feel like topic 3 is very important. Algorithms and data structures in actual production are very important, and that is where you will realize when you start actually going towards that how important DSA really is. So topic number 4, what should a fresher do? If you want more clarity on this topic, DSA versus development, I highly advise you to check out my video on DSA versus development. It is a very old video, but I have really cleared up what you should do, when you should do it. So the question is, if DSA is so important for development as well, that it will help you critically think, you'll be using the same algorithms except you won't know it, right? Where does it come into play? Okay, so let's get this straight. If you are making a project, right, the most important part is you highlight the optimization. You know what will catch the eye of everybody watching your project, viewing your project? It's not that flying animation that you generated using Cloud Code. No, it's not those working backend APIs that you have made using maybe Cursor or Perplexity. People will ask for optimization. When you say that my application can handle 500,000 users, okay, maybe I said a lot, but what if you say as a beginner, as a fresher, that my application can handle 10,000 concurrent users, 5,000 concurrent users? People will be impressed, because that is what they need in the industry. When applications are deployed, the biggest hurdle is never ever writing code. It's never ever implementing newer features. That's easily done by taking it to another repository, making it, handing it over to the testing team. They test it, verify it, and they send it to production. That's how easy it is. The biggest difficult part is optimization. So I'll tell you this one thing: build a project, break it intentionally, and then try to optimize it using the fundamentals that you learned in DSA. What did you learn? You learned caching. You learn different types of databases. So when you break that project that you make, you fix it with these logic. At this point, you will use AI. Why? Not to code the entire website out and then say, okay, I scaled it. No, you will use it to break it. You will ask the AI, what should I exactly do to break it? How many tuples? Generate 50,000 tuples, generate a file that will send you an output of 10,000, and watch how your Node.js application console just freezes right out the board. It will just stop right there without responding to you. And that is where you will jump in and you will start optimizing it. Use whatever principles you have used, optimize that solution. And that is how you will realize, once you start implementing that, you will realize when caching hits, you will realize that you just used it in dynamic programming. And that is how DSA and development work hand in hand, and how DSA teaches you to write production grade code through these 4 topics. So yeah, that's all for today. Thank you so much everybody for watching. I hope you understood how DSA helps you to write production code, and I think we'll be closing the DSA series with this. I'm moving to other topics right now which have been requested by people. So this was the last topic that I had in the bag about DSA. If you need anything more about DSA, I'll be uploading that. But with this, the DSA series closes officially. Thank you so much everybody for watching, and that's all from my side. Ninad out.